Queen. How you doing?
Hi, Queen A. How are you?
Fine. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. Looking forward to talking to you.
Hey, I was so glad. I was like, man, I didn't realize that the first link I sent to you at 10, it was queued. So I was like, oh my gosh. And then so when I went to send this link and I noticed it said draft, and I was like, I looked in there, I said, oh my God, so she never even got my daggone message.
Mm-mm. And
So
I checked,
I
I checked
apologize.
the email. I was like, so are we still?
I totally apologize. So that's totally my fault. So I was like, oh my gosh, but I'm so glad you're here. So how was your weekend? Because I seen that you did the event in Atlanta. Was that in Atlanta or
Um,
somewhere?
no, no, this weekend I was here. I was in town.
Or was that the
Last
weekend
weekend
before?
yeah, I was in Atlanta. I had an event. It was great. It was a Black Women of Excellence, Atlanta Black Women of Excellence event.
Oh, that sounds lovely. That sounds
Yeah.
lovely. I've seen it,
Yeah.
so I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that you had fun and everything, and just to be have you here on Slapping with True podcast. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Thank you.
yes, you're welcome. So I'm just going, jump on into it. You know me. So now, so I just want you to kind of like before we start, just like kind of tell everybody a little bit about what you do
Mhm.
to just begin with. So just kind of give us a little background about yourself.
Okay, well, hey y'all, I'm Cynthia McCallister. I own an IT company I started 17 years ago, so that was 2007. And I've been out here supporting the community. So my mission for my business, which is Quality SAP, is to connect communities and support small businesses. And we specialize in website development, mobile app development, IT consulting, and we are here supporting small businesses with our Keyspot mobile application and Keyspot Business Partner Program. So we are here to help you small business owners.
Yes, I love it. And when she say help, she really here to help y'all. Let me tell y'all, like she's just minimizing it, but she plays a big role when it comes to helping entrepreneurs. So if you need help in any area, like please feel free to reach out to her because she just gives herself like this little area. But from what I see, like she plays a major role in just about any area. I feel like she can direct you in the right way. So,
Thank
so
you.
first off, I want to know what made you want to start like your own, because you have your own app, right? For
Yes, I have
people
my
out there
own
that don't
mobile
know,
app.
right? Okay.
Yeah. So
So
starting with, go ahead.
no, that's okay. I just kind of wanted you to tell us because like that takes a big like who thinks of like me? I think of all these programs, but I never actually thought to actually build an app. So I just wanted to know like what kind of intrigued you to like, you know what, forget it. I'm just gonna make my own app.
Yeah, the interesting thing is when I got started with the area of mobile apps, it was during the time where they just started out. So 2015, just think about that. Prior to that, you didn't see a lot of apps out there. But like McDonald's and Burger King and all those big companies started developing their own mobile apps around that same time. And that's when I had my app idea because I said, you know what? I wanted to build something where I could find the local restaurants and service providers and events that are happening in the community. And I said, there's nothing else out there, so let me build it. So I went ahead and I had the idea and I put a team together and we made it happen. So it took till beginning of 2016 for the Keyspot app to come to light. And we've been on a mission for the past, what, 8 years now, just getting the word out about the app and, reaching business owners across the country, being in the community. So like you said, we're in community events, we are hosting events, we're attending events, we are reaching people where they are to get the word out about how we support them. So with our Key Spot program, it's not only about putting the businesses on the app, but it's also about supporting them with resources, referrals, networking opportunity. So that's what we do to help market and to provide awareness of what's going on out there with these small businesses.
I love it. I love it. So I want to get into like the mind frame of it because it
Mhm.
takes a strong mind frame and it you had to overcome a lot of obstacles. Am I
Yeah.
correct? I mean, because that's not an easy challenge, right?
Oh,
So
you telling
anybody
me?
can create an app. So I just want to know, like in the beginning, like before, you created an app. Let's say, when you was working a 9 to 5, like put
Mhm.
us like in the mind frame that you had, like that, like the kind of thoughts that you start having in your mind before you kind of like got to the app process? Like, was there any kind of like frustration you was going through? Like, was you depressed? Like, just kind of give us the mind frame that you was in kind of before you built your app.
So let me tell you why I stuck with this app, because it came to me in a dream. So I say it was divinely inspired. The whole idea came to me in a dream, and I was like, okay, so if this is what I need to do, I'm going to do whatever it takes to build it. So as you mentioned, I had a full-time job that I was doing the 9 to 5, but this app was always something that I knew I had to do. So I did use my own funding. I reached out to family members. I did everything I could to, because that was the hard part, raising money, because it costs a lot to make an app. I mean, a lot. So you don't just build it, but you have to market it, and then you have to maintain it. And over time, that takes a lot of toll and takes a lot of money. But I was determined. So it took until 2016, and the first version I built was on the iPhone. But it wasn't until right before COVID, I guess that was 2020, where I was able to release the Android version, because of the time that it took. It was a lot of funding that had to be raised to have both versions in place, but that just shows the determination. So over those years of having to go through and make sure that I was going to stick with it, there was a lot of trials, ups and downs, like, is it worth it? What's the benefit? Like, why am I doing this? But I always kept in mind that this was something that I was meant to do. I was meant to create this, and I was meant to touch different people as far as helping support them in their lives and with their businesses. So that was my struggles, trying to get it built and stick with it, and I did.
I love it. I love it. Hey, I like that mind frame. You was like, you know what? It came to me in a dream. And I was like, if this what the Father want, then that's what I'm gonna do. So, but before you had that dream, was you like feeling like, was you frustrated, like, or anything? Or was it like you was feeling kind of like lost? Or was it a time like you was feeling like that before you had that dream? And that's kind of like why you had that dream. You was like, you know what, this is it? Or did it just like happen out of the blue? Or, how did
Well,
that?
I had the mindset that I wanted to create something. That was the mindset I had even before the dream came to me. I said I wanted to create something that was going to help people, but I didn't know what it was. And I wanted to shift focus from what my company was doing, which was IT consulting, and I wanted to shift focus to something that was more specific to supporting people. So it was around that time, 2015, where I shifted my focus from the IT consulting for my company to really doing the work with the small businesses. And the frustration was, what am I going to do, as far as like, how am I going to make this work? And that's when the idea came to me, and that's when the dream happened, and it's like, okay, this is the path that I need to go, and that's going to open up other doors, because as I mentioned, when I support small businesses, they're also supporting other areas of my business, which is the websites and the mobile apps if they want one, and everything else that we do.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. So, can you describe a situation where you felt like unsure of yourself, and what mind frame did you have to put yourself in to get out of that feeling?
I think it was the day I met you. Think about it this way. We met, what was it, a month or so ago? And everybody's a business owner. It's not always easy, and you have your ups and downs. So I know we was talking, and we were at a networking event downtown, and we were all introducing each other and our businesses, and I was talking about what I do with Keyspot. And then after the event, you came up to me and you said, I think what you do is so great, and what you're doing in the community, and I appreciate you. I see the excitement. I see everything you have. Those things, when people say those things, that helps me get through, and that helps me know, okay, I'm doing what I'm meant to do. So that's an example of, people being down, but you got one person who said something that's like, that changes it. That makes you want to continue.
I love that. I love that. And I like, because yes, we did meet at a networking event. And I just want to say this. I'm glad you mentioned that. So her networking event was awesome, because she did what you call, was it a round table? Is that what you call it? A roundabout or something like that?
Yeah, it was called speed networking.
Yeah, speed networking. But
Yeah.
she has you at like a table. And I just love the
Mhm.
way you did it, because I still haven't been to another one just like that. So usually if you've been to a networking event, you guys, you got to just, like, when they say network, you just got to kind of get up and float around, and kind of, most people, you mingle towards the same people. Let's just put it out there, right?
Right.
But the way you did it made it to where you couldn't pick and choose who you met with. And I love
Yep.
that because it forced you to connect with people that you normally probably wouldn't have connected with had you just had the opportunity to just get up and choose. So
Yeah.
I love that. And I just wanted to put that out there. So if y'all haven't been to one of her networking events, make sure that when Keyspot have a networking event, y'all go, because I love the way that y'all did it. I've never seen none like it. And I look forward to going to many more because I'm not going to it. So I just want to throw that
Yes.
out there. So can you
Thank
tell me,
you.
let's talk about the roundabout, because I really
Hmm.
want to talk about that, because you work with
Hmm.
a lot of entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can you tell us, like, how did you come up with the roundabout? Or the way you call it, the meet and greet? Like, how did you come up with
Speed
that idea
networking.
instead of just
Yeah.
sitting there and just saying, okay, well, they're going to network? Because that's what most of them do. You're
Yeah.
the only one that I've been to that I
Hmm.
actually did that with. So what gave you that idea? Like, how did you come up with that?
So here's the thing. So many people don't know how to properly network. And like you mentioned, they try to, get to people who they've met before. And some people are just introverts. And if they don't know you, they're just going to stay against the wall, even though as a business owner, you have to get out there. So I said, if I format it in a way where people have a short amount of time, so you don't have to be like, oh, I have nothing else to talk to you about. Set amount of time, and you're going to be able to exchange information, get a little bit of information about the other person, and then you share about yourself. You're going to meet at least 5, 6, 7 other people in that period of time for the speed networking. So you're going to be guaranteed to go away with some contacts. So we wanted to make sure that everybody, whether introvert or extrovert, can be able to make those connections. And that's one of the things that I do at every networking event that I have, because it's always one that you're going to get something from. And that's what it's all about.
Mm, I love it. I love that. Like, cause like I said, I've never seen nothing like it. That's the only one I've ever been to, and I've been to more after that, and I still didn't see it. So I just want to say kudos to you for thinking about that, because I would have never, like, actually, I've actually thought about why people haven't done something similar to that. But when I seen the way you did, I'm like, this is it. That's exactly how I feel like every networking event should work like that, because it kind of gets you out the box.
Yeah.
So tell us about, because I know in order to do that you got to talk positive to yourself a lot, right? Or do
Mhm.
you
Oh,
so,
yeah.
so
Yeah, you
tell us.
have to have a positive mindset.
Yeah, so what positive, like, affirmations can you give entrepreneurs to, like, kind of tell themselves to keep pushing forward? Because as an entrepreneur, we all know, like, it's a time where if you feel like, you know what, I'm frustrated, I just want to give up. So
Mhm.
what kind of affirmations can you tell entrepreneurs out there who may be feeling like that?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a great question. So first of all, you have to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, it's going to be hard for other people to believe in you. You have to look at the positives that you bring to the table. What makes you special? What makes you you? And you got to remind yourself every day, you're worth it. You are great. You are awesome. You're going to kill it today. This is your day. And if today's not good, just say, you know what? Tomorrow's going to be better. And then pray. If you believe in the God, you better pray. And that helps as well, because sometimes you just feel like, well, what's the purpose? But you know what? You say your prayers and tomorrow's a better day.
I love that. I love that, and I love how you say, like, if you believe so, and that's my thing, like, whatever you believe, whoever, just something that's better in you, like, pray to it or have faith, like, cause some people, I'm just like, just believe, have faith. And I love that you said that, because that's what keeps me inspired every day. Like, I talk to the Father when I first get up, like, that's just me, so I love that you said that, because that's one of the main things for me is, like, I'd be like, okay, I don't want to let the Father down, or
Right.
myself, like, with the Father. So it's like, that's one of the main things that keeps me driving. So I'm glad that you actually said that out there, because I believe that plays a big part in entrepreneurship is for you to have something to cling on to, to
Right.
keep you going in whatever your faith may be, so I
And
love
having
that
a
you said.
purpose too. I mean, for me, I feel like I have a purpose, and that helps get you through. So find something that's going to help you feel like you have a purpose for what you're doing, or using your gifts for good. I like that. Use your gifts for good. That's what I try to do.
I love that. Say that again. Tell them again. You said what?
Use your gifts for good.
I love that, because I tell people, we see so many people. How many people y'all done seen that got gifts, and you like, man, if you could just change that and use it in a different
Hmm.
way,
Right.
like, people are so used to using their good gifts
Mhm.
negatively, and it's like, if you could just switch that a little bit, that
Right.
could be. So I love that you said that. So
Yeah.
I actually have I want to ask you a question because I know you go to like Keyspot is in like it's like how is it in where I don't want
All,
is in
all across the country. It's all
okay,
across the
I was
country.
gonna say that, but I was like, I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Yeah,
Okay, so
it's
it's all
coast to
across the
coast.
country.
Uh-huh.
So does that get aggravating at times? Like, is it times that because I mean you got people coming to you from every day from all over, right?
Yeah.
So do it get aggravating at times? Or I mean, I just want to. I mean, because we all can't be. I mean, everybody you meet can't be pleasurable. Let's just be honest, right? So
Right.
does that get like frustrating at times to have people from all over the country? And how do you communicate with people from all over the country? Because that means different languages. I just thought about that. So
Well,
how do you do
so
that?
I have a method, okay? I do check-ins with the Keyspot people who are on Keyspot, the businesses that are on Keyspot. And if they want to have one-on-ones, I have a Calendly, and that keeps it organized. And I do have stipulations as far as if somebody's reaching out to me, don't call me on a Sunday, I'm not going to answer. Don't call me after a certain time, I'm not going to answer.
Right.
I will answer an email, but it's like, you have to have boundaries. And that's what I try to keep those boundaries in place too. So
Yes.
so I don't
I'm
have
doing
people
it.
bombarding me because, I'm like, I will let them know. If they do, I will let them know, hey, you'll have to talk to me after hours or put some time on my calendar because I can't just pick up the phone every time somebody calls. So,
Mm. Now let's jump into boundaries.
mhm,
How important, because a lot of entrepreneurs, especially if you're a mom out there, we women, it's a lot of moms out there. A
mhm,
lot of moms, when they're entrepreneurs, they find it hard to stay in entrepreneurship because of boundaries, which can be
mhm.
hard when you have a child that's in, 80 million soccer games and, you got
Right.
kids coming in, they need homework done, and if you
Yeah.
married, your husband coming in and more than likely, you got to fix his problems too, or help him
Mhm,
out and, on his
mhm.
journey. So,
Yeah.
and fold clothes, do dishes. So talk to entrepreneurs about the importance of setting boundaries and kind of like
Yeah.
and what are little tips that you can kind of give them to help them set boundaries. Because a lot of people say they don't have time. And my thing
Yeah.
is people make time for everything. A lot of times the main people that say time, they binge watching a show, or
Mhm,
they
mhm.
scrolling on YouTube or Facebook for hours, or on a
Right.
drive to work, they're listening to, something when they could be listening to something inspirational, or,
Mhm.
I so just kind of talk about, you know, the importance of setting boundaries when you're an entrepreneur.
So for me, I did have to set boundaries and I did have to prioritize my family when it came to over my business. So I did take breaks and didn't do as much traveling or as much work into the business when my kids were younger because I wanted to be there. I didn't want to have kids that grew up and said, Mom was never there. She was focused on her business her whole life, and we grew up without her. So that didn't happen. Like I was at the games, I was doing the soccer matches, I was in their lives and helping them with stuff. So they knew that I was there for them. But the other thing is I let them in to what I was doing. My son was the one who came up with the name Key Spot. So I let them into the work. I had my kids working with me on the weekends when I had different things that I was doing because I wanted to show them what my intention was as far as where I wanted to take my business and how they played a role with helping me to grow. So now, they're able to appreciate what I do and, they're proud of what I'm doing and they know that they didn't miss out with me being a part of their lives.
I love that. And I love how you said involve them in what you're doing. So, because that's a big step. A lot of
Mhm.
entrepreneurs are scared of that part. They like, well, or they don't know how to incorporate, but it's easy things like kids love phones. You can have them
Mhm.
record a video of you doing something. They want to do that.
Yep.
Okay, if that's all you want to do, but it's little things that we don't even pay attention to. So for me, like S&B Sense, so that's my business name, originally. And it's
Mhm.
S is for St. Clair. That's me and my
Mhm.
son's last name. And the B is for
Mhm.
Breyer, my girl's last name. And
Mhm.
my son is like the one who's in charge of, making sure he looks at the marketing competition. And,
Mhm.
so it's like, in my daughters, I bring them along. So, and I'm glad you said to incorporate your youth in what you're
Mhm.
doing, because when you show youth, like your youth, like what you're doing, like kids are interested. You'll be surprised
Mhm.
how interested your youth will be in your business. And then they are happy to see you grow. Like when they
Yeah.
see that mommy is growing or daddy is growing, like they are excited. So I'm glad that that's one of the things that you said, because a lot of people don't understand how important it is to incorporate, like when I say set boundaries, like I said, you can be riding to a soccer game and listening
Mhm.
to something at the same
Mhm.
time, so it's
Mhm.
like, you just got to have to understand how to incorporate like what you want to do and kind of put it together, in a
Right.
way. So I like how you said that, because I'm like you, like I'm not missing out on what you got going. Like I'm
Mhm.
not doing that. I'm not going to stop my family life personal
Right.
for my
Right.
business life.
Mhm.
Because one of the things is I believe that you can have all the money in the world, but what's good is it if your family, if you coming home and you stressed out and everybody's arguing, and you got to deal with family issues,
Right.
so I want to
Or
have a
your
boundary
kids
of both.
resent you because of what you did when they were younger.
Exactly. Like she was never there. All she cared about is her
Right.
business,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So, and I want to know, how do you handle, let's say if, when you was creating the app, right?
Mhm.
And we know apps, technology does its own thing at times, right? I mean, let's
Mhm.
just technology do. So how do you handle days when like apps fail, or something didn't go right, or you put it in? Like how do you handle or like what kind of thoughts pop up, and how do you handle them thoughts when things don't go according to plan?
Well, that's why I have a team and I'm not just by myself out here. Have experts to help me. So if something's not right, if I can't fix it, I have my team to get on it so they fix it. So that's what
And
you got to do. You have to remember, if you're a business owner, it can't just be you. You have to have other people around you who can be there to support you. Because what happens if you're sick one day? Who's going to take over? So you got to think about it. Make sure you have the right people in place, somebody that know all the activity that you're doing. So if something happens to you, they can step in and be able to work with the people around you, the team, your clients. So that way you don't miss a beat with your business.
I love that. Because like you say, there ain't no I in team. Ain't that what they say? So I love that you said, I got a team. She was happy too. Like, girl, I ain't
But
worried about that. So,
I'm not in
but
this
that I
alone.
love how confident you was about that, because that's how you feel when you have a team. That's how you're
Uh-huh.
supposed to feel.
Right.
So because I'm in the process of, trying to create a team and get it together. I got it now, but so, I can't wait to get that level where I'm like, girl, yeah, I'm letting such and such take care of that, so
Right.
I'm glad you were talking about how important it is for a team, because as an entrepreneur, we know a lot of times we get caught up as perfect. So I want to
Mm,
talk to you about perfect as an
okay.
entrepreneur, because as an
Okay.
entrepreneur, we all know there's no such thing, right? You
That's
constantly
right.
keep kind of growing and learning.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
talk to entrepreneurs about kind of like taking steps even when things are not perfect, because nothing's never going to be perfect in the entrepreneurship world. So,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
just kind of talk about that a little bit for us.
So, when you have a goal, it's always great to track what are the steps you're taking to reach your goal. And for me, I do monthly accountability. So, if I'm like, oh, I want to, have a certain number of people that I get registered on Keyspot. So, what are the activities that I'm doing each month to do that? So then I'm able to track those activities and show the progress, show what I've done. So having that monthly accountability that helps you get to your goal is really important, because if you if you don't have anything to say, oh, I want to do this and nothing in between is happening, then you're not going to succeed at all. You're not even going to reach your goal. So
Mm.
you have to realize that it's not going to be there's nothing, like you said, no such thing as perfect, but there's steps you can take to get to what you're trying to achieve. And once you achieve it, just realize there's always room for improvement. So that's one thing I just want to say. There's no such thing as perfect. Have steps to achieve your goal and know that your goal is not just the end. It's going to be constantly improving what you're doing.
Mm. Now she giving y'all. Hey, I hope y'all listening to this, because she telling y'all entrepreneurs, how to keep a great mindset when you're dealing with things. And one of the things I want to talk about is environment when you're an entrepreneur, right? Because that plays a big role in whether your business can succeed or fail. Like that's one of the main things I have learned is being an entrepreneur is environment. And like I tell people, environment to me is person, like people, places, and things. Like
Hmm.
it's the things you listen to, it's the places that you put yourself in, the people that you put yourself around.
Hmm.
How important do you feel like it is as a business owner to, or to manage your environment?
It's very important because you want to be around people who have a mindset also of, hey, I want to help you, or I'm doing something, I want to support you and know the struggles. So I have my network who's a great environment. Every time I have my virtual networking events, it's always inspirational because we have people who are sharing what are some technologies you learned, what are some things that you've learned this month that's going to help you grow your business. We're learning, we're sharing from each other. And then, people who are on there either for the first time or for the 50th time, they're able to introduce themselves to others. So being in our Keyspot network is one way where you can have a group of people who are there to support you, who you can share what you're trying to do, and you just know you're not by yourself. So it's so important to have someplace to go and have an environment that's going to be, able to feed your seeds. So that way you could sprout into the growth in the tree that you need to be.
Right. Hey, and that's important. Environment is number one. Like that's the thing I talk about and I stress the most because a lot of times, like I say, we talk about how frustrated we be and we
Mhm.
aggravated, but then when you look at the things that you're doing, we're doing the same things daily, over and over,
Yep.
so we have to change something in our environment in order to
Mhm.
get, to overcome the challenges that we are facing. So
Mhm.
I'm glad that you said environment is key. So for
Yeah.
people, entrepreneurs out there that might feel like, okay, but how do I control my environment? Like, how do I do that? Like, Miss McCallister, how do I control my environment? Like, if let's say if I didn't have any positive people around me, right? And
Mhm.
I didn't understand how to get to, these kind of people, and
Mhm.
the places I stayed in was just horrible. And like the things that I'm seeing every day is just like my mind is just so gone.
Mhm.
How do you suggest entrepreneurs to overcome these type of environments?
So I would say read. A great book for people is a book called Yes You Can: 10 Great Ways to Market Your Business that I wrote. It's basically a book about, yes, girl, thank you.
I was
So
gonna
it's,
listen.
yes, so that's a starting point because in my book, I wrote it because of the just what you're saying, the struggles it is to be a small business owners and ways to get the word out about your business. Because I'm like, I've had my ups and downs. I have a chapter called Lemons to Lemonade because it talked about some of the struggles that I've had. But if you are in a place where you feel like the people in your immediate surroundings are not supportive, that's where you need to use the tools you have, like your phone, your computer, and be able to find groups. Like if you go on Eventbrite, you can always do a search for virtual groups, virtual networking groups that you could join and just be a part and listen and connect in that way. There's always opportunities to do in-person events to get out of that household environment and just to go out for the couple hours, meet some other people, and just be part of those groups. And then also reading. There's lots of books, like I just mentioned my book, but there's other books that are out there that's going to help you get into the right mindset for you to be successful. So those things, being out there in the community with networking, going on like Eventbrite, trying to find events to go to, and then reading. Those are things that are going to get you in the right mindset. So that way, no matter what's happening in your environment, immediate environment, you know that there's another way that your life is going to go.
Mm. And she's not lying. So this is the book right here that she's talking about. So I hope y'all can see this in the screen because I got it blurred down the background. But if you can, I'm trying to do it on there. But it's called Yes You Can: 10 Great Ways to Market Your Business. So kind of like tell the people about the book. How can they get the book? Because like you said, this is something that is important if you are an entrepreneur and you ready to, because this is all about how to market your business. And if you're an entrepreneur, let's face it, that's what you're in business for, is to market your business, right? That's the number one thing
Right.
you're trying to do. So just let the people know like how they can find the book
Mhm.
and just talk about that for a little bit.
Yes. So you can find the book over at the website here, keyspotapp.com. That's also where you could find our virtual networking events that we have. And then you could also connect. So there's a link to schedule a meeting. So make sure you go there. So all that information is on keyspotapp.com, and purchase the book, connect with Keyspot. Register for free. We have free registration on our Keyspot Business Partner Program. Just go to the website, keyspot.com/free, and join us so we can help support your business as well.
Yes, yes, yes. So y'all make sure y'all get that book. I really want y'all to make sure y'all get that book because I'm telling y'all, it's every entrepreneur's dream is in this book. Like, most people we search in YouTube, and even if you search in YouTube, most of the time they just give you a snippet. But this book right here, she's giving y'all like the overjuice, what they say, the sauce. Like she said, the lemonade chapter, but she's giving y'all the sauce in this book. So,
Yes.
if you like everybody else, if you like every boss and you love the sauce, you want the scoop. Queen A giving y'all the scoop right here on Slapping with Truth. And make sure y'all go to keyspot.com and get that book. It's called Yes You Can, 10 Great Ways to Market Your Business. Okay. And that's by Miss Cynthia McCallister. So I just
Yeah,
wanted to
and
make that out
thank
there.
you. And one other thing that I like to do when I do things like the books is I also feature our small businesses. So you'll see at the end of the book, there's a number of small businesses that are part of Keyspot that have been featured in there because that's just one way of kind of giving back to those businesses that have been supporting us along the way.
Oh, see? So look, you get 2 for 1, y'all. So y'all go ahead and make sure y'all go ahead and get that book. So can you share a time where you think you took a risk that maybe you wouldn't have took if you didn't have the mind frame that you have? Like, let's say if you was the old you, is this some like any risk that you're taking now that you feel like you wouldn't have took if you put yourself around certain people or if you didn't change your mind frame? Can you think of like what not change your mind frame? What things can I say it would have kept you from doing or what you would have lost out on?
Oh man, I take more risks. I take risks a lot, actually. Not too much because I calculate them, of course. But some of the risks that I take are quite expensive. So, for first of all, the app itself, if you think about it, should I tell how much it really costs? Apps cost a
We
lot.
want to know. We want to know.
Tens of thousands of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars is what you would expect to spend for a real mobile app. If somebody says, "Oh, I could build an app for $5,000," that's not a real deal app where it's the development and everything that it needs. Because, in that process, it's a lot that goes on and it's not a one and done. So the amount that I had to devote to make this come to light was a big risk because just think that money could have been used for anything else. But because that was something I believed in so much, I was willing to pour in, financially to making this happen. So that was a huge risk to spend and devote that much time, that much effort, that much expense into making this happen.
But that's a
So,
huge risk. I just want to say, y'all, that has paid off in a major way. Now, remember, what she invested ain't nothing, because sometimes we be scared to take risk and take leaps as entrepreneurs. So
mhm,
now Keyspot is, it's universal now. You can
mhm,
download the app anywhere now. So it ain't just like one person. It ain't just Cincinnati. I'm in Cincinnati, but
mhm.
it's people, you can be in the Bahamas and download Keyspot, in China, right? It just,
All across
so
the country, yeah.
what taking risks can do for you. So
Mhm.
sometimes we be scared, right? Because I know when you was, that's a lot of money. I
Yeah, it
know you was
is.
like, it was times you was probably debating like, hey, I don't know if you gotta love, are you married or,
Yes, I'm married.
okay, so I
Uh-huh.
know you got like, hey, can you imagine? Can y'all imagine going to your husband like, hey, baby, I got a proposal for you. That's a big talk. So I just wanted to say how I want to thank you for taking that risk because had you
Mhm.
not, we probably wouldn't even know each other,
That's
right?
true. That is true. Yeah.
So, and you wouldn't
So,
be helped as many entrepreneurs as you help. So talk about that. How many entrepreneurs have Keyspot touched so far? Like I know you don't know probably like the number exact, but just
over
give me
over a thousand, over 1,000 business owners across the country. Yeah, we've impacted over 1,000, and we're still growing. Yeah,
Yes. And that's from how long? You started in 2016, right?
I did. And the thing about it is, it's actual connections. It's not just, these are people who I've actually touched. Having conversations with, met at events, and all that, being part of our Key Spot network. So we did it the hard way. We
The
did it the
best
way
way.
we did it the hard way. So it's like when I go to different locations outside of the Ohio area, I want to be around the Key Spot people so we get together. I give them hugs and we go out to dinner. I mean, it's something where it's a community. It really is. And the people know who I am because they met me, they talked to me, they connected with me. So it's a real it's like building relationships. That's what this is. And it makes it special. It's not just about technology, it's about building relationships that's going to help support you.
And this is why environments is so important, guys, because if you don't put yourself in the correct environment, you miss out on certain relationships. Like if she wasn't in the, like putting herself in certain in certain, around certain people in certain places, right? And taking the time to look up to even see what events is going on or where she needs to be at, because that takes time. Like, right, she had to know, where do I need to be at? Where is my people at? Where is the people that I'm looking for at? So that takes time. So I just want to say, thank you for doing that as well, because a lot of people don't want to take the time to create an app, and
Right.
a lot of people, even when it comes to the money wise, even if they got it. So we ain't even talking about people that don't have it. A lot of people, even when they have it, and you talk about investing that money, they like, nah, you know what I could do with this? Like, but they ain't thinking about the outcome. They just thinking about that lump sum right there. They ain't thinking about the outcome. And that's one thing a lot of entrepreneurs don't think about. So, how important do you think it is to think about the outcome instead of thinking about, the investment? Because a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, they step back from the investment instead of thinking about the outcome of the whole reason why you're making the investment.
Yeah. Yeah, you do have to think about the long term vision. That's why it's important to have like, okay, what is your plan for the next 3 months, for the next year, for the next 5 years? Where do you want to be? Because if you live in the day to day and the regular routine, that might not get you where you want to be. That's why I said earlier, you have to make steps to actually reach those goals, and you have to have goals set to know that you're actually achieving things. Because if you don't even write down what your goals are, you're not going to reach anything. You're not going to achieve what you're wanting to achieve. And it's more than what's just happening in the now. So you have to think beyond like, oh, my day to day, and is this investment going to be worth it? But you have to have a vision of what you really want, and then the steps to make it happen.
So as we wrap it up, can you tell us, is it anybody that you look up to, like any role models that you have had throughout this time, or, just like, can you think of any person or just anybody's comes to mind that you've looked up to throughout this whole time?
So here's the thing. I was inspired by my parents, and I still think of them as my role models because I learned at a very early age about entrepreneurship by watching my father, who was a business owner. He, the ups and downs, the internal workings. As a young person, I helped him in his business. So I'm like, okay, I understand some of the challenges, and I want to be able to be in a place where I can help people who are going through these challenges. And then the other person who helped me was my mother. My mother, she worked in the community. She was always working for nonprofit organizations, giving back and doing things. And I helped her along her way when she's putting on events and she was doing different things. I was there to help her. So those have been my role models throughout the course. And you'll notice that in the book, I have my forward, contributed to them. But they're the ones who I think about when I'm going through my day to day and doing my business, because I know that I have a purpose and I'm wanting to do something that's going to honor their memory, because they're no longer with me, but I'm honoring their memory with the work that I do.
Well, shout out to mom and dad, because y'all did an awesome job, and so Maz is my dad.
Mhm.
So my dad always, throughout my whole life, always had businesses growing up. And I remember he got up, and still to this day, like my dad sends everybody in his phone a positive message every morning. And he gets up every morning and just reads scripture and work out. And so I always drink his coffee. I drink tea, he drink coffee. But
Yeah.
he drink his coffee, and I always inspire, because I'm like, man, he don't miss a beat. Like, I'm talking about, like, gets up every morning by this time. I'm talking about he's an early bird now. I'm still working on that part. I ain't got there yet, y'all. I ain't gonna sit here and lie to y'all on this spot. But no, he gets up real early and reads. So so a lot of times when we talk about role models, a lot of people think it has to be, somebody like that's famous. It
Right.
has to be a role model, because I say who you look up to, and people get, and it's like, it could be simple as, your grandma, maybe your grandma raised you, right? Or maybe your auntie always been there for you, or your brother was always there, right? But it can be different things. So when people talk about role models, I just think entrepreneurs need to just sometimes just look deep. Sometimes we think we don't have, role models, but in reality, we do. because I
Right.
believe that we all are shaped by our environment. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you a lover, or, you know, you want to take care of people, something along the way made you feel that way. You know, it
Yeah.
made you want to be a lover, you know. So it could have been somebody you spoke to, something you used to watch all the time, but, you know,
So there was
but
some influence, right?
yes, there was some kind of influence there. So I'm glad to talk about that. I hear that because I could see it all in you when you was talking about your dad and how he always had a business. And I'm looking at how determined you is, and I could tell that came from
Mm-hmm.
your dad. But then I could also see the loving side of you because we've
Mm-hmm.
spoken, right? And I've seen you
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
person. So I got to see the nurturing side of you. And when I say y'all, she's the same in person. Like, she's a nurturing person in heart. So I
Yeah.
see that. And can you just tell us, how do you celebrate your success? Because you have been successful. You know, if ain't nobody tell you, I want to let you know that you are successful to me, you know, and
Oh,
others
thank
out
you.
there, the thousands that you help and the many more to come, you know,
Yeah.
millions is to go, and you will get there. I see it. So
Yes.
I just want to know, how do you celebrate success? And do you celebrate just a little success or just a big success, or do you celebrate both?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I need to celebrate more. Let me put that on my to-do list. I need to celebrate my successes more. So I like to travel. That maybe that's how I celebrate successes. I don't know. That's just a way to unwind for me. But I need to put it intentionally to do more celebration of my successes. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. But
Yeah.
you do need to find a way to celebrate your successes because it can't always be a struggle.
Yes, you know, and you should, and I believe you should celebrate. So now when I see you, I'm gonna start making sure that, you know, I'm making did you celebrate yourself? Do you tell yourself how, you know, how great you are today or something, because, or how awesome you
Yes.
did, like, because you touch so many lives and you do so much for others, that a lot of
Mhm.
times as an entrepreneur, we go for everybody
Yep.
else, and we don't realize how much we leaving ourselves out. So
Right,
I don't want you to
right.
leave yourself out. I want you to
Thank
take time
you.
to congratulate yourself on the little goals as much. That's right. Right now, we doing it for you, right? Because I
Pat yourself
believe
on the
you
back.
do it, and do it all the
Uh-huh.
time. You know, like,
Yeah.
read the book. I don't care. Like, one person joined Keyspot, you should be up there like,
Right,
well,
right.
you know, somebody inquired about Keyspot. Maybe they ain't joined yet. Or somebody else
Yeah.
inquired. Like, you know, these are little goals that we forget to do for
Mhm.
ourselves. You know, we
Yeah,
focus on that bank account low. Like, we like, shoot, I ain't got this. I'm supposed to get 10 people, but you forgot about, you still reached out. You feel me?
right,
That's a goal. That's something that you accomplished. You reached out. Some people ain't reaching out, and that's why they ain't got nobody inquiring, right? So
right,
I just want to tell you on here, like, just, you know, let you know to celebrate yourself, you know, the big and the small goals, because it's the small goals, remember, that get you to the
right.
big goals,
Mhm.
you know. And so
See,
before
look
we
at
leave,
you spitting that advice. I love
hey,
it.
hey, for the clarity, coach, I had to just put a little sprinkle in there, a little something before we
Nice.
leave. So before we leave, is there anything you want to let the entrepreneurs know?
Yes, I want you all to know that we are here for you at Keyspot. I can't stress enough that all small businesses need support. Please be sure to check out our website, keyspotapp.com, and register your business. And if you know somebody, a cousin, a friend, anybody in business who could use some support, whether you're in Ohio, outside Ohio, we're across the country, go to our website, keyspotapp.com/free, and register your business. Let us support you.
Hey, y'all heard it right here on Slapping with Truth. Now, make sure y'all reach out. I'm here, and I just want to vouch for them and tell y'all how awesome they is. Like I said, that is if y'all ain't ever been to a networking event, do y'all have any networking events coming up?
We do. We have one in Atlanta coming up next week on the 12th September, and we have a virtual networking on September the 19th. So you could find that on our website, keyspot.app.com, and then go ahead and register for those events.
I love it. And y'all don't want to miss out. Y'all do not want to miss out. Like, because when I say that I've never been to one like it, and you know, I'm waiting to see it. When I see it, I'm gonna let you know when I get to another one like it. But so far, y'all are like the best hands down, because y'all actually took me out of my own box, right? Because I
Good.
was already
Yes.
expecting, I was already looking around the room like, okay, I'm gonna connect with this person. I want to connect with this person. But when you said go to the table, it threw me
Uh-huh.
out. Right. So it threw me
Right.
off my game. And that's what we need as entrepreneurs. We need to
Hmm.
get out of our comfortable zone of what we want to do a lot of times. And
Hmm.
through you doing that, I connected with lovely people. And I know they'll be in my life for, you know, years to come. And so I just
So,
want to thank you for taking the time to come on here to Slap them with Truth, because you so slapped these entrepreneurs with some truth today, and you gave them some tips on mindset. And that's what,
Good.
you know, we focus on, and how to keep that thought of keep pushing. Because I love you. It's like, look, I just knew this is what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to help somebody. I had a dream. And when it came to me, I was like, I'm going to do it. And, you
Yep.
know, and he just was like, bam, bam, bam. And I could see that in you. You're an action
Mhm.
taker. You know, it's four
Yes.
personalities in this world. You're an action taker and a nurturer, you know,
Oh,
so,
thank you.
you know, so, but, you know, but it's just them things you did. Like, and I just want to say thank you again. And if nobody else loves you, I hope you know that Queen A does.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure being on your show, Queen A. You doing it.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording now. Let me see. Stop it.